Vegas, Nevada, site of WrestleMania IX. Here are your hosts, Tyrone, and special guest booker, Tyler of the Count It Out 7.
Hey guys, it's Steve from Mandex here. You're listening to Good Friends Better Running Podcast, only on the Count It Out 7 YouTube channel. Tyrone, let's go!
Welcome to another edition of the Good Friends Better Enemies podcast. My name is Tyrone. That's all you need to know. We're going to have a good fucking show today because guess what? Jay's not here, guys. For the first time ever, welcoming to the show with me, Tyler. How are you, buddy?
What's going on, man? I'm pretty excited to do this. We've never got to record just you and I together. So let's see if I can upgrade your co-host this week.
I mean, that's not a tough challenge to answer, so I'm kidding, Jay. Jay, I love you. Listen. You're gonna listen to this, and immediately I'm gonna get a text message telling me to fuck off. But it's okay. Let's go.
I'll make you one promise, Tyrone, is that on my card today, I do not have Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Texas Tornado versus the Mountie and whoever he put in that tag match at WrestleMania 8. I promise you that is not on my card today.
That's good because
the Repo Man.
I know you actually understand tag team wrestling, so I feel like that's a good idea right there.
I had to bust his balls a little bit on that one. I did, for the most part, really enjoy Jay's rebooking of WrestleMania 8, but I sent him a message. I go, the Mountie and what the fuck is wrong with you on this one?
I understand his reasoning for a lot of this. He's all about the ebbs and flows, as we talk about a lot, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes you just go from one match into another, a hot match. It doesn't matter. They did it all the time. They still do it. We don't need fucking Jacques Rougeau teaming up with the Repo Man out there.
Although, cheap plug for Count It Out, Jacques Rougeau is the guest of Count It Out this week. So, see a tie in there.
All right, you got your plug in for the day. Let's not talk about.
I had to bury Jay to get my plug in.
Well, that's totally fair. I mean, I'll give you one or two more throughout the entire day, but you put them in strategically. Sound like a plan?
That's fair. I do edit the show, so I'll put in whatever plugs I feel like, I guess.
Touche. Well, folks, we are here today to talk about WrestleMania IX, which Tyler has rebooked for us because both Jay and I stupidly love this show, and we know it's bad. Don't get us wrong. We know it is not a good pay-per-view, but it is just childhood nostalgia with all the things that we love. So we couldn't do it. So when Tyler stepped up to the plate to rebook it, we were happier than pigs in shit. So I am excited to see what you got here because, as I said, it is a nostalgic card, but I'm well aware of the fact that it is not good. So I'm sure you did it just. I'm sure I'm going to get mad as hell at certain things, but I am excited.
Yeah, you know what? I share that consent with you guys. WrestleMania 9 and King of the Ring 93 were like my childhood kind of babies as well. But I don't have that same kind of fondness for WrestleMania 9, I guess. Like I go back and I can appreciate some of it. I love the visuals of WrestleMania 9. I love the Caesar's Palace theme, the Romans and all that stuff. The Bobby Heenan entrance, the tag match at the Head Shrinkers and the Steiners is one of my favorite tag matches I've seen in a long time. But I just go back and watch it and I'm like, oh shit, this is no good. So hopefully I make you guys proud on this one. I worked pretty hard on it.
I'm sure you will, but like I said, I already am slightly pissed off because we're going to go back to the Royal Rumble 1993.
Yes.
And you kicked off the Royal Rumble 93 with one of the best matches on this card going to that one with the Steiners and the Head Shrinkers. And you just said that it is one of your favorite tag matches. So already we are robbed of this match on a WrestleMania card. I don't know what you put in its place, but it better be better. Wow, that's a sentence to say right there. It better be a hell of a lot better than what this was, which is hard to do. you also had Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty for the Intercontinental Championship, which I know Jay seemed a little pissed about because he doesn't understand why that was still a storyline. I love the way you broke that down to him. Let him know that, hey man, this was the first pay-per-view match that they had. They really hadn't touched because of him being injured, him being fired. It just didn't really connect for a while. And unfortunately, we should have probably had it at WrestleMania 9, but we didn't. We understand why.
Here's my take on that too. It's like if you take a look at the modern wrestling fan, all they do is bitch and whine and complain about everything. Oh, they don't give guys enough time. Oh, they don't, their injuries don't mean anything anymore. They're back in 2 weeks. Marty was gone for like almost a full year. He was gone for like 9-10 months. And everyone's like, oh, they waited too long, too much steam. It's like, motherfuckers, this guy had his whole face thrown through a window and he finally came back to get his comeuppance, and people are complaining that they missed the boat on it. No, it gave Shawn time to get over as a heel. It's perfect.
I brought that exact point up to Jay about a week or two ago, and he kind of came around, but still, I'm like, dude, it's long-term booking. We do the exact same thing on this show. We set up months, a year in advance what we want to see. Whether it comes to fruition is completely up to us, because as we know, I like to throw some curveballs his way. But
I do enjoy that.
Oh, sometimes I can't help it. But that's what this was. It's like these same fans would probably bitch and complain about Brutus Beefcake being gone for a year and a half because he got his face fucking smashed in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, even leading up to WrestleMania 9, like, I wouldn't have mind seeing Beefcake off TV a little bit longer when DiBiase hit him with that briefcase, right?
I mean, if we weren't putting him in the match at WrestleMania 9, I'd be okay with Beefcake being off TV, period, because not a big Beefcake fan. But
yeah, you and me both, buddy.
But going back to the Rumble, you did your debut of the narcissist Lex Luger, which totally love that spot. Totally love that you had him beat Tito Santana. Gives Lex the rub. Doesn't hurt Santana at all. He was in that position where his job should have been elevating the newer stars being brought into the company.
Mm-hmm.
And then you did something which I didn't see coming, which was having Brett and Flair for the WWF Championship.
Yeah.
And the way you sold that to me with the finish of that match was fucking brilliant. I have nothing but fantastic things to say about this. I, unlike my partner, truly do think Ric Flair is probably the GOAT of professional wrestling when it comes to the whole package. But you can't argue that. So having Brett beat him clean to retain the championship at a pay-per-view put such a rub on Bret Hart, it is insane.
1,000%. And Flair's on his way out of the company, right? He finished up the next night on Raw. Why not have him put over your champion clean? No knock to Razor Ramon, because he's obviously, went on to be one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. But at the beginning of 1993, like, he's not doing anything to help Bret by Bret beating him. You know what I mean? Like, I loved his title run here, but he was just getting fed guys like Head Shrinker Samu, Papa Shango. Like, he didn't get that big name win on a big stage. Even when he beat Shawn Michaels in 92, like, Shawn was just starting out his IC title run. He was just starting to build momentum. Like, nobody really thought Shawn would be the world champion at that time. So I figured, let's start getting Bret some wins here. Let's get him a big win over Flair by submission, get him this rub and start putting some steam behind him as a champion.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think that they still do things like this, even in this day and age. Like, look back as recently as Kofi Kingston's title run. He never had the big match. He had what? Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, which, no disrespect to those men, but they're not the world championship opponent that you're thinking of. You're thinking of a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins, a Brock Lesnar, where we saw what happened with Lesnar. But they still do that shit with the smaller champions. They feed them guys who they know they'll beat.
Look at even CM Punk's title run. With the exception of John Cena, he was fighting in the mid card. Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, Ryback, and then finally he main evented against The Rock when he lost. Right. So yeah,
I mean, you could arguably say that Alberto Del Rio was a main event star for Punk there too, though.
Yeah, for like maybe a cup of coffee, right? Like, even like that time period, no matter who the champion was, it was still the John Cena show, right?
Oh, 100%. And right now, if Roman loses the title, it's still going to be the Roman show. That's just where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm fine with that right now. Roman and Brock, I like what they're doing. I'm excited for Mania this year, and
Oh, see, here's the thing, and Jay and I were having this talk. I gotta say, as fine as this match is gonna be, and the promos are fun, and they're completely different characters, there's nothing about this year's WrestleMania that is intriguing me. And
really, this
that
is
is one of the first times I can say that in years. Like, I do not want to see Johnny Knoxville in a match. I do not want to see Logan Paul in a match. I don't need to see Pat McAfee in a match, even though I know he's talented. I'm tired of Edge doing whatever the hell he wants at WrestleMania. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns have what I think is honestly going to be a 4-minute match max.
I
You
hope
still don't.
not.
I don't care about Steve Austin coming back at all in the slightest.
You're
He's
crazy.
50. He's 57 fucking years old. I don't want to see him in the ring. Just
I
like,
though that it's not a match. It's Austin coming on the Kevin Owens show. So I think you're going to see him come out in some jean shorts and a t-shirt, maybe the vest. It's going to be a brawl. Like, I think you're going to get 7 minutes of good.
That's what I said to Jay. I'm like, we'll see if it's before they announced the KO show, if it was going to be a match. I'm like, we'll know how good of a match it is, whether he's wearing trunks or jean shorts.
Yeah, jean shorts all the way. And I would hope so.
Have you heard what Vince Russo's booking idea for this match would have been? And to me, it sounds beautiful.
No, I haven't heard it. What do you say?
So he was saying, book it as a tag match. Have Rollins and Owens going against Austin and the re-debuting Cody Rhodes. And then have Austin almost get taken out backstage. Have Cody have to do most of the work as the babyface and the handicap. And then have Austin come down, blast hits, he comes out, raises hell, and they win.
That's not bad at all, actually. And it gives Cody a big rub, right?
Yeah, because right now it seems like Cody is he fully signed with the company? Do we know what the hell's actually going on there? They seem to be kind of backtracking a little bit on that.
I've heard it's about 50-50 right now. I was reading a little bit about it before we started recording this, and he has not been officially signed yet. I know they want him to debut as this is airing tonight on Raw in Jacksonville, but nothing has been confirmed as of our recording.
Well, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, with Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor, if they keep Ring of Honor as almost like a separate entity, and Cody spearheads that division and kind of leads an invasion almost, if you will, but properly done, unlike what the Fed did with WCW, I'd be okay with that too.
Just making their own forbidden door, eh?
Why the hell not? I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. We've seen that how many goddamn times now.
Fair. I will say, going to that, just off of what Russo said, I love the idea. And what I'm about to say makes no sense from a storyline standpoint, so I don't think it will ever happen. But selfishly, from a fan standpoint, I kind of wish that they went with Austin Theory in the Austin spot with Steve Austin, because that way I could just see Vince and Steve Austin in the ring one more time, and I'd be pretty cool with that.
I mean, to me, that makes a lot more sense, but it's still like, we're just under 2 or 3 weeks away from WrestleMania at this point?
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
How does Seth Rollins still not have a spot on this card? How does Big E and Kofi, I guess the New Day to a degree, not have a spot? The Usos don't have a spot. RK Bro doesn't have a spot yet. Like, I don't understand. Obviously, we're going to have at least another, 6 or 8 more matches added to this card, probably.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this is the last year of that 2-night bullshit too, because not every I don't think everyone. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. I don't think everyone should be on WrestleMania. It's like, I don't think that you should get a participation award. I think that being on WrestleMania should be earned. You know what I mean? And some of the names that you just said there, they should be on the card. And yeah, maybe there's a little too many celebrity matches, but that is what WrestleMania is all about. If this was a one-night card, I don't think you're getting Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. I think I'm fine with Logan Paul coming in, just because as much as I don't like the guy, he's over. He's a draw. Putting him with The Miz as a couple douchebags together, I'm totally okay with. It gives Rey Mysterio a high-profile match at WrestleMania, which I like. Having Edge and AJ Styles, like, take my money right now. I know you're not a big fan of what Edge is doing, but those guys are going to tear the house down. But, guys like the Apollo Cruzes, the New Days, the I can't think of any other names off the top of my head right now. They gotta get doing something, and that's a lot on the writing as well. But I like WrestleMania being one night with the best guys on there, a couple celebrities, maybe a legend, maybe one, just to give it that little WrestleMania pop. But it's not a participation trophy award for me, man. I don't think everybody should be on the card.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I agree with that full-heartedly, because you can still do it 2 nights, in my opinion. Only have maybe 6 matches a night, give them the time,
Yeah.
and then you still don't have everybody on the card, but you're giving everybody who deserved that spot a proper time to shine and show what they're able to do. Now, you did say, I'm not a big fan of what Edge is doing. That's not what I said. I said I'm tired of Edge being able to do whatever he wants for WrestleMania season and fight whoever he wants. Him and AJ, that's legitimately the only match on this card that I really want to watch.
Yeah, I'm hyped up for that one, man. I think it's going to steal the weekend.
As of this moment right now, I can tell you 100% I will not be watching live. I will read along and see on social media what happens and if there's anything I want to go back and watch. But unless they make some crazy big announcement, I'm not intrigued.
Yeah, I will have to watch on a tape delay as well, because the wonderful life of a restaurant manager, weekends are my go-to, and I've decided to take my weekend off to go to Barrie Wrestling instead. So WrestleMania, you're going to have to be on tape delay.
Shout out to Barrie Wrestling. Always love you guys.
Yeah. You guys got to come up to a show soon, you and Jay. It's so awesome what they're doing up there.
Oh, I plan on it. Don't you worry, buddy. As soon as the weather gets a little warmer, I will be up there.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait to get you guys at the table.
As we go back to off of this sidebar that we all tend to do so much on this show, we go to the actual Royal Rumble match itself from 1993, where you had Randy Savage win.
Yes.
In a very surprising moment to me. Like, you set up a couple of things there with Doink the Clown and The Undertaker, as well as Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna. We'll get to that later. But I don't know how I feel about Savage winning. I fully thought when I heard this, you were going to have Razor go over and move that match from the Rumble to Mania.
I put some thought into it. There was a couple guys I looked at to win the Rumble. Razor was on that list. I thought about having Yoko keep the Rumble. I thought about having Hogan win the Rumble and getting that big WrestleMania match, but I just feel like Hogan would have felt too forced. I don't think Yoko or Razor were ready at this time period. I think that another couple months of building Yoko up as a monster would have made his title run more dominant and impactful than what they ended up doing at WrestleMania 9. I thought, from a fan standpoint, from a shock value, having Hogan come out and win the belt was fun. But I think from a booking standpoint, it really hurt Yoko a lot. And, the way he got his win back at King of the Ring was awful. And I just think that if you gave him a couple more marquee matches over a guy like Hogan before he got to a title match, then I think it would have really helped his credibility a little bit more.
See, now here's one thing, though, that I don't know if Jay or even yourself has really thought about is in the summer of 2021, I rebooked SummerSlam 93 already. So that's already been done. So now I'm just going to go out on a limb and be like, hey, Tyler, you want to rebook King of the Ring 93 and keep this going? That way you can try and tie that all into what I did with Rumble 93. Or sorry, with SummerSlam 93.
Because you had, I know that Jay was hot at you because you had Brett and you didn't have Brett and Hogan, right? I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's absolutely true. I didn't. And he got so pissed at me. And it was even funnier because I didn't even think about it. It didn't even cross my goddamn mind until he looked at me with those sad puppy dog eyes that he has. And I went, oh, no, buddy. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes,
you had Brett and Luger, right?
No, I think I still had Luger and Yoko, but I think I had Luger win.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember. I only remember bits and pieces. They all blend together.
I'm skimming through my notebook right now to see if I can find it, but it seems to have gone the way of the dinosaur. Oh, no, here it is. Yeah, I had Yoko beating Luger. I had the Rock and Roll Express on there beating the Head Shakers. Brett beat IRS. That's where I put Brett. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, he was a little pissed off at me, justifiably so.
Oh man, I don't know how I can tie that together with King of the Ring, but I'll have to go back and re-listen and see what I can do with some magic there.
Well, it is the magic known as pro wrestling. And with that being said, should we hop right into this wonderful toga party?
Ah, absolutely, man. And I did keep the toga party, just so you know. The whole
Oh,
visuals
thank God.
stayed the exact same. I thought that this setting was beautiful.
Well, we are talking obviously about WrestleMania IX, which took place April 4th, 1993, from the wonderful Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you have ever seen the documentary of the Mania of Mania or whatever it was called, you see the behind the scenes of this one in particular. And I'm not going to lie, until I saw that, I had no idea that this was essentially a fake Coliseum that they constructed in the parking lot of the casino.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing, eh?
It was the world's biggest toga party, as we've mentioned. Now, a couple of things I want to ask before we get into it. Is this still the debut of Jim Ross?
Yes. So I did have to make a slight change to the commentary team because Macho Man is going to be fighting Bret Hart in the main event. So we are going to just slide Vince McMahon in that place. And Vince can have Savage's entrance on the thing. Bobby Heenan's entrance will stay the
I
same on the
love that.
camel. It has to. I went back and forth between Gorilla and Vince here. I ended up going with Vince because I just thought years later when Vince, JR, and Jerry Lawler did their commentary together, I thought they were a great team. So having Bobby Heenan there with Vince and JR, I think would all work the same as well.
I am not complaining about that at all. I also love the idea of Vince coming out on. I can't think of what those beds are called where they're being carried. I just think of Futurama and Hedonism Bot,
Yeah, yeah.
but which makes it even funnier to me that that's what Vince McMahon is being brought out on in a toga at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I just thought it would be ridiculous to have him do that. The only thing is, I do want Vince to not take over the commentating. I still want JR to have the lead spot with Vince just kind of being Vince. That's the main reason why I almost put Gorilla in there because I thought Gorilla would be better at stepping back than Vince. But we're still going to let JR take the show here.
All right, I love it. Well, with that being said, I'm going to skip over the dark match because I feel
Oh,
like
but I have a dark match.
Well, then shut me the hell up and tell me, what do we have in the dark match? Because originally it was El Matador Tito Santana going up against Papa Shango.
Yeah, so this one here, we're going to start it off with just a fun little 10-man tag that's going to go about 8 minutes. I'm going to have your boys, the Nasty Boys, teaming with High Energy, and Tatanka going up against the Beverly Brothers, the Head Shrinkers, and the Berserker.
Well, for somebody who doesn't like to get everybody on the goddamn card, you sure did here, didn't you?
That's why it's the dark match. You know, I actually did put a lot of thought to sneaking this on the main card as one of those ebbs and flow matches, but I think I have enough of those already. So let's throw these guys on the dark match, get the crowd hyped up with the Tonka and the Nasty Boys, and 8 minutes, let the faces go over and get the crowd ready for the main card.
So
Let them flap their arms with Coco Beware.
So fuck off with the Coco Beware. So you have gone from putting the Head Shrinkers in a beautiful tag team match on the main card to now in an 8 or a 10-man tag match on the openers, and you've also put in the goddamn best tag teams in the world with the Nasty Boys and the Beverly Brothers there as well. I mean, what's next? Are you going to debut fucking the Heavenly Bodies on this show and throw them in a dark match too? You're killing me.
I would debut them to win the tag titles if I were doing that on this show because I am a huge mark of the Heavenly Bodies. But that being said, at least I got them on the card somewhere because in this time period in 1993, they're not on this card, period, even in a dark match, except for the Head Shrinkers were on the card. But your Nasty Boys, your Beverly Brothers, they were MIA.
I mean, I feel like the Nasties and the Beverlys were both gone from the company very shortly after this anyway.
Yeah, they weren't around for much longer. So this is, here you go. Take a payday and get the hell out of
here.
here.
All right. I'll take it. So our opening contest then, originally on the main card of WrestleMania, was for the Intercontinental Championship, with Shawn Michaels defending against, not Tatanka, obviously, because he's in the dark match. So what have we got in its place, Tyler?
Okay, so we are going to start WrestleMania IX off with a one-on-one contest between the bad guy Razor Ramon and Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig.
Okay, I like this. This is better for both men than what they originally had. So, yeah, walk me through this one. How do we get there? Who wins? Are we going clean? You know the drill. Tell me
Yeah,
what we do.
I've listened once or twice to the show here. I think I got this now. So basically, the backstory here is that Razor Ramon is really pissed off that Mr. Perfect is the reason why his friend Ric Flair is no longer in the company. Pretty solid, pretty self-explanatory there. Razor and Flair are boys, and Flair's gone now, and Razor's blaming Perfect for it. They're just gonna have a solid back and forth match. I've got Perfect. He's gonna have a Razor set up for the Perfect Plex, but I'm gonna have Shawn Michaels run out and jump on the apron as a distraction. Perfect's gonna let the Perfect Plex go. He's gonna chase after Shawn, who's gonna kind of run away and taunt him from the aisleway. Perfect's going to be standing on the second rope. He's going to be calling Shawn Michaels on. That's going to allow Razor to sneak up and hit a Razor's Edge for the 1, 2, 3, and your winner is Razor Ramon.
Like it a lot. That's a smart booking. It's great for these two have chemistry with each other. They're former tag team partners in the AWA.
Yep.
They would go on to be in the NWO together and WCW. Like these guys have tons of history together. So this is perfect. This is opening your your pay-per-view on a strong note. Gives the younger guy the win. Mr. Perfect does not look bad at all losing. The storyline is great over Ric Flair. I love it. I love everything about this. You are 1-for-1 so far.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And it kind of pushes that new generation that's happening at this time, right? And it sets up Shawn and Perfect down the line if you want to go down that road too.
I hate the term new generation. I know that's what it was called, but I couldn't stand the term.
Me too.
I also wasn't a big fan of the era. I know that is blasphemy to say on this show, but it's just not my favorite era of wrestling at all.
I'm with you. It's not mine either. I do enjoy a lot of the matches that happen during the new generation, but it's I will say I think it is better than the Attitude Era though.
I 100% agree with you on that. The Attitude Era is my least favorite, and it's the most romanticized. They didn't give us any matches featuring the 1, 2, 3 Kid or Hakushi, so they can go suck
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Suck one, Attitude Era. Take your Zambonis and shove them up your ass.
Exactly. Cover it with milk and roll it up and roll up a fatty and light one for that pimp daddy.
Holy shit. It's so awkward
Oh,
now.
it so is. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah. I think this is the match that's going to pop you the most on my card.
I hope so, because you originally had the Steiners and the Head Shrinkers here. So what the hell are you putting in its place?
Our second match here is going to be a one-on-one contest between the sensational Sherry and Luna Vachon.
Oh, fucking right. You got some goddamn women's wrestling on the card of Mania 9.
That's right.
I am all about this. Do the women get to show their charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent?
I know they're probably only going to get about 5 minutes because it's 1993. But there's a reason for that too. I want Luna to look strong here, right? So my backstory is that Sherry's still mad with Shawn Michaels after the Royal Rumble. She's kind of always watching his matches and interfering with it. He's doing a promo and she's going to interrupt it. And he's basically going to say, "You're yesterday's news, and I dumped you like a piece of garbage, and now it's time to take out the trash." And that's when Luna's going to debut and sneak attack Sherry and setting up this match here. Shawn's kind of hired Luna to take care of his problem because he can't do it himself, right? So it's a playoff of the original WrestleMania 9 with Shawn and Luna. Hard-hitting match. Let's give him about 6 minutes. I want Luna to get a win here. And after the match, I want Luna to grab the camera. You know how they used to do that like in-ring promo without a microphone, but just looking at the camera? And
Yep.
I kind of want her to be like, okay, Shawn, I took your garbage out. You owe me one now. And I kind of want to leave that seed planted as Sherry gets helped to the back.
So I like this a lot. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that Luna and Sherry are on the card. But I have a question about this because I'm not always the most familiar with storylines of certain eras and whatnot.
Yeah.
This WrestleMania 9 was Luna's debut originally, correct?
As far as I'm aware, it is. Yeah. She might have done like a promo or something before that, but it's the first time I've ever seen her on TV.
Did she continue to manage Shawn Michaels after Mania 9, or was it kind of like a one and done, that was it?
I think it was just kind of a one and done. I think he just kind of brought her out to take out Sherry.
Okay. I mean, that's totally fair. It is what it is. I just wish that Luna had a better date. Like the way you had her debut is so much better, where it's actually in a talk show segment type thing. She's attacking Sherry, whereas here it was just she was sulking down the aisle, looking
Yeah,
all
like
weird, and
10
Bob,
feet behind Sean.
yeah, and Bobby Heenan just going, "Who is that?" Where
JR's just like, that's Luna Vachon.
exactly, it's just
It's
like
like,
she was Miss Ontario at one point, but blah blah blah.
yeah, that was terrible.
But I love that if we really wanted to, having her say that you owe me one, Sean, we could tie this in about what 3 years later. I think it was actually the Good Friends Better Enemies show where they hit fucking Kevin Nash got Vachon's fake leg and used it as a weapon.
That's right. That's
We
right.
could somehow tie this in if we really tried to, right, Jay?
I'm just planting the seeds for you boys.
There you go. No, I like this a lot. I think that it's smart. I'm still waiting for a tag match though, because I know you and I know we're gonna get a good one at some point. But yeah, I'm happy with this. You ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, up next on the original card, we had probably my favorite match on this entire card. So I want to know what we're doing here, and that is Doink the Clown going one-on-one with Crush, because it is not a secret. Doink the Clown is the greatest gimmick ever in my mind.
I love heel Doink the Clown as well. I think that it was one of the biggest missed opportunities they had. But I'm going to grant your wish and give you a tag team match instead. We're going to go with the tag team titles. Money Incorporated defending their titles against Rick and Stott, the Steiner brothers.
I had a feeling this is where we were going to go when I saw what you did at Rumble. I'm okay with it. So here's my take. Money Inc. was great. Jay and I spoke about them last week and how they're never in the conversation when people talk about the greatest tag teams. People tend to forget about them because they were just two singles guys kind of thrown together that ended up becoming a great tag team. But I don't think that if this is the only tag team match you have on this card, especially, I'm not a big fan of it, because Money Inc. and the Steiners, to me, were not even the top tag teams of this era. And I know you're going to fight me to death on that, talking about the Steiners, but break it down. Let's see where we go. I'm just not the Steiner mark that a lot of people are.
Fair, but at this time period in the company, they were the top two teams. You know, you talked about
100%. They were, but you also could have had the Head Shrinkers be thrown in there too. Like they were one of the top teams as well. There weren't a lot of very top teams at this point. I get it. You had high energy. You had the Beverleys. You had, I think the Bushwhackers were still kicking around, but like,
yeah, they hung around till 95,
which is absurd. It's completely absurd. But I get it. The Steiners to me are good, but if you're asking me my top 10 tag teams of all time, I don't even think I put the Steiners in there.
I think they'd be, in like the number 10, number 9 range for me if they're in there. I do like the Steiner brothers, and I thought that by them not getting this big title win on a big show, hell, even on Superstars, they won their titles on house shows. I just think that they were booked so backwards in the WWF. I thought.
I get, well, of course they were. They came from Crockett and WCW. They weren't Vince's creations. But I will say, I know you're a mark for their theme music here.
Oh, big time.
I will take Steinerized over this.
I do love Steinerized as well too. Now I would like to see, how about a mashup between the two? Oh, that would be awesome.
I guarantee you, if we go on YouTube, it's somewhere. And if not, someone's gonna listen to this and put a version of it together, and I cannot wait for that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Tell me about this. Tell me about what I'm going to assume is the Steiners getting their big pay-per-view title win.
Yeah, I'm not pulling any punches on that one. Steiners won the number 1 contender match at the Rumble against the Head Shrinkers. They're in the shot. I want to give these guys like 15 minutes, though, just to tell a classic tag team story. You know, have Money Inc. Cut the ring off with Rick Steiner, build some heat up for a hot tag to Scott. I do have Scott getting the win for the team with a Frankensteiner, because that move is just so damn awesome, especially in 1993. Well, I'm going to do the pin on IRS, just because IRS, I think, can lose a million times and it never hurts him. And I just think that it's a nice moment to give the Steiners here and give them a bit of steam going into the tag titles here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's sending the crowd home. Well, not sending them home happy, making them happy, giving them who they want to win. It is what it is. 93's tag division was shit. We just
It
spoke
was.
about that. It's better than the fucking, what were they called? The Mega Maniacs? It's way
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah, that was terrible. And we're getting the Quebecers coming in a couple months soon, and they were pretty entertaining.
They were fantastic, but it's really funny to say that you were like, oh, I'm going to give them 15 minutes to let them go. Money Inc. and the Mega Maniacs went almost 20, which is
Ugh,
absurd to think that they had by far the longest match on the original card.
that makes me want to vomit in my mouth.
Oh, just slightly. Now, do you think with the rumors going around and with Braun Breaker being in NXT right now, are the Steiners going in the Hall of Fame?
I think so. Can I
think?
tell you since we're on a fantasy booking show, can I tell you how I would book Braun Breaker right now?
Yeah. Oh, please do, because I also have a way that I would book him.
So if I don't know if you're going to think this is the best idea ever, you're going to tell me to grow up in a second here. But if I was them, when I bring him up to the main roster, I would reboot Evolution, and I would have Randy Orton in the Triple H role, Triple H in the Ric Flair role. I would have Braun Breaker as the new Batista, and Austin Theory as the new Randy Orton.
I actually really like that. That had never crossed my mind. See, the way I was thinking about it is because he's already won and lost the NXT championship at this point, I feel like he's going to be on the main roster much sooner than later.
Yeah.
I would almost have him cost Brock Lesnar the match at WrestleMania.
Wow. That's
and
big.
then have
You think
Heyman manage Braun Breaker, because he's okay on the mic, but he's not great yet.
Yeah.
And
You
then
think
have
he's ready for that?
I mean, they probably think he's ready for that. It's just like, what's his name, Gable Stevens or Gable Steveson,
Yeah.
when he debuts, he's going to go straight to the fucking moon too, whether or not he's ready for it.
I mean, it's just crazy.
And
Like,
well, it's not that I agree with it, but at the same time, we need these new stars. Like Brock Lesnar said it best on the goddamn Pat McAfee show. It's like, you need to do it. You got to just fucking take charge and get it done. Nobody is doing that. He's the only one. There are a few names: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, but for the most part, no one's trying to make themselves a superstar these days, it seems.
yeah, I agree with you, man. It's definitely the biggest flaw between the constant same matches every week on Raw, but they just are not able to build stars that are connecting with people.
But I really want that Evolution reboot to happen now, because Randy Orton is perfect in the cerebral Triple H leader role.
1000%. And now that Triple H, it looks like he won't be able to fight anymore. Like, the guy's still got so much to give to the business. Let him get the next group over.
Oh, 100%. I think that makes all the sense. I love Austin Theory in the fucking Randy Orton position too,
Right?
because
It fits.
there's no denying the fact that he is the future of the company.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, just look at what original Evolution did for Randy and Batista. It's a formula that's proven to work. Why not rehash it? How many versions of the Four Horsemen did we have? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. Like, you could still call it Evolution because you still have
1000%.
two of the original members who have evolved into different areas, and they're just keeping it going.
And I just want the theme song to be back on TV every
That
week.
Yeah, there's not enough Motorhead on TV these days. That's for damn
1000%.
sure.
1000%.
All right, cool. So Steiner's win. Are we going on to the next one here?
Yeah, on to the next.
Well, we have Razor Ramon going up against that young upstart Bob Backlund in a completely unnecessary singles match. So what do we have in place?
This one we're gonna go with Doink the Clown going up against the Undertaker.
Okay. So when you planted these seeds and I heard it on the fucking Rumble show, I was salivating, because this is what should have happened with Doink. This is way better than him versus Kona Crush, depending what you do. If it's the Undertaker squashing him, then I'm going to have a big problem. If
No
Doink
squash.
if Doink ends the Undertaker's streak, I'm also going to love every second of it.
I will tell you, I will tell you, just because I am a huge piece of shit as a human being, I really thought about doing that just to fuck over your guys' show for months and months to come.
It would not have fucked it over for me at all. It would have put Doink on such a hot streak that he would have been champion by the end of the year, and the Undertaker would literally just I would get rid of the Undertaker, and I know that was blasphemy to say, but he'd be off TV for quite a while, and then maybe the American Badass would show up much earlier.
Oh God, I couldn't do it though. I did have the Undertaker go over, but it was not a squash. It was a hard fought back and forth match. I made sure to let Doink shine in the Royal Rumble match as well. I want people to see that the clown facade that he puts up is for mind games, is for the illusions, but when the bell rings, that he is a badass. I just thought the build for this match would be so fun, you know, just like the mind games that these guys would play together. Like you could have Doink fucking with Paul Bearer, like throwing buckets of water on him, doing his illusion stuff, and then Taker just doing his supernatural stuff in return. I just thought it would be really fun.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing to think that we never got this feud out of like considering the shit that Taker was given. I mean, Giant Gonzalez on his own. By the sounds of it, we're not getting Giant Gonzalez on this show, considering he never debuted at the Rumble.
No, I'm trying to make this card better, so I left him off.
I understand that, but I kind of have a soft spot for the man and that weird fucking bodysuit that he had.
Fair.
Because I also had Gonzalez on the SummerSlam 93 card, so we have to get him incorporated in here at some point sooner than later.
Did you kept him with Taker, right?
I did. So at least we still have King of the Ring somewhere down the line to bring that in.
Okay, how about I do some booking on the fly here? Watch this. So I've got Doink getting to shine in this match. He's going to push Taker to his limits, maybe more than anybody has so far against the Undertaker. Taker's going to get the win after failed interference from a second Doink, though. He'd learned from the Rumble, so we're going to have a throwback to that, but Taker was on to it. He's going to get the win with the Tombstone. And then how about we do post-match? Giant Gonzalez debuts and lays out Taker. We'll book it on the fly for you.
Is he still going to put the rag up to his face and just knock him completely unconscious? Is that what we're going to do here?
I'm going to leave that to be your choice on this one. You can have him just beat the shit out of him like the Rumble, or you could have him fucking put him out for a little night-night with the rag. Dealer's choice, Tyrone. It's your day today.
Love it, love it, love it. We're going with the rag because it was so fucking stupid that it has to be done again.
He can throw the rag on Paul Bearer while we're at it, too.
Well, and then this way, at least if the match is over and Taker's already won, he doesn't need to get stretchered out and then come back down. Let the man be a little human for a second and let him be out.
Yeah, but I'm only having this happen if Harvey Whippleman lays at least 3 boots into Paul Bearer while he's down.
Let's go with 4. Let's go with full on. Give Bruno the 4th one. Fuck it.
You got yourself a deal. Love me some Harvey Whippleman. All right, so we're booking on the fly there. We've got you guys set up going into SummerSlam with Giant Gonzalez now.
Perfect. Love it. We're there. Love every second of this. I'm just making a note of that because my pothead brain will forget.
Beauty. Now we're going to get to some stuff where I don't know how you're going to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, that was bound to happen sooner or later. So originally on the card, it was Money Inc. defending the tag team titles against that wonderful, wonderful upstart team of the Mega Maniacs. So what do we have in its place, Tyler? It can't be worse. It truly can't. Or can it?
I don't know. That depends on how you like my angle I'm shooting here. But we're going to keep Hogan in a match here. It's going to be Hulk Hogan going up against Yokozuna.
So I fully understand why you did this. Don't get me wrong. It makes sense. They were going to have a feud anyway. By 1993, I didn't need to see Hogan anymore. Even as a fucking 9-year-old kid at this point, I was already over Hogan. I was fully on I can't believe I'm saying this as myself. I was on the Bret Hart train at 9 years old.
Oh, yeah. Bret was my guy, too. I'm with you.
I'm a young Canadian boy who just wants his Canadian hero to triumph over the evil, fake Japanese sumo wrestler. But you want to give me Hogan versus Yoko, this is fine because Yoko is, especially at this point, he could move still. He was talented. Oh, yeah. He was one of the most athletic big men that were around. And Hogan could still go because it would be, a month or two after this, he'd be in Japan doing some crazy-ass shit with fucking Muta?
Yeah, and that's when he said the WWF title meant nothing. This is the real title, brother.
Well, I mean, it did at this point.
Because he was carrying it.
Exactly.
I think that's just insulting himself.
Tell me the story. What are we doing? I'm really hoping that Yoko's going over, but let's go.
Well, we're going to have kind of, throw back to the Rumble here. Yoko laid out Hogan after Hogan made his surprise return and eliminated him. I'm going to have Hogan off TV for a couple weeks. We're going to go old school here. Mean Gene Event Centers. We're going to get updates on Hogan every week. Shots of Hogan trying to rehab and get back to 100%. As that's happening, I've got Yokozuna just being booked on a tear here. I got him putting guys on stretchers every week. But there's a connection to these guys. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Typhoon, and the Big Boss Man, all friends of Hogan. The major angle is going to get shot when Brutus Beefcake is going to be in the ring. He's talking about his upcoming Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels. When Yokozuna is going to come out, lay Beefcake out and drop the big leg on Beefcake's face, injuring Beefcake, taking him out of WrestleMania, taking him out of the company for a long time. So that's our angle we got going into Mania.
My favorite thing about this so far is that's how many times has Beefcake had an Intercontinental Championship match scheduled and how he doesn't get it again?
That's it. We got to keep the gimmick going. And we got to, and Beefcake was fragile at this time, right? He's got the face injury. I thought it'd be smart to build heat on Yoko. So Yoko is strategically taking out all of Hogan's friends and former allies, Hogan and Hacksaw Jim Duggan have been friends for years. Him and Typhoon as Tugboat were friends for years. Him and the Boss Man worked together at SummerSlam 90. So it's just Yoko sending a message to Hogan, stay away or this is going to be your fate. The match is going to be what it is. It's Hogan and Yoko. Hogan's going to obviously start the match off hot. I'm going to have him take control of the early part of the match. Yoko will slow it down, take control when Hogan goes for a body slam but can't get it. Yoko will fall on him, kind of like the WrestleMania 3 spot. I'm going to have Hogan kick out of a leg drop that Yoko does. He's going to start hulking up. Punch, punch, big boot. He's going to call for the slam. Cue Mr. Fuji on the apron. The distraction is going to allow Yokozuna to throw salt in the eye of Hogan. Hit a big belly-to-belly suplex, hit him with the leg drop, hit him with the bonsai drop, and we're going to have Yokozuna go over Hulk Hogan clean.
Well, not clean, per se.
Well,
he did have the salt.
As clean as Mr. Fuji will allow his clients to go over.
I dig it because you're still keeping Hogan strong if you ever need him down the road again because he couldn't be beat fully clean. It took some dirty tactics by Mr. Fuji and some salt in the eyes. No, this makes sense. It's better than Harvey Whippleman in a costume throwing a flashball at Hulk Hogan because that's what we got, and that was terrible.
Yeah, that was awful. We'll give the salt. Gives Hogan an out if you want to bring him back to do something with him down the line, like you said. And Yoko needs these wins. It's like we talked about with Bret Hart, Yoko debuted at Survivor Series beating Virgil and laying out Hacksaw Jim Duggan on Superstars, and all of a sudden he's main eventing WrestleMania. Let's build him up a little bit more and let's really put some steam on him,
Yeah, there are times where they do that with people where they get debuted really quick and then they're in the title picture, and it doesn't always work. The only one that comes to my mind that worked was Sheamus.
Yeah. But even if you look at where Sheamus is now, and it's the same thing with Yoko. Sheamus had a run on top for, let's say, 7 months as a main event guy, and then he's a mid-carder. Yoko was on top for 2 years and then fizzled out to barely a dark match guy. I just think they push these guys.
That's a little different because Yoko's was a lot because of his weight not being under
fair
control. So whereas Sheamus he was a little green at the time. Sheamus to me is one of the fucking backbones of that company these days.
He's an unsung hero for sure, but
now that he's in the mentor role with Ridge Holland too, which makes all the sense.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Sheamus is like the guy that I every time I like hear his name, I'm like, I don't really care about Sheamus. And then I watch him fight. I'm like, fuck, I keep forgetting how good he is.
Right. And now that we don't have Cesaro in the company anymore and we can't see the bar anymore, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. But yeah, I like that Hogan and Yoko are on. I like that they're also on 6th. I love that they're not the main event. They're kind of a co-main event. But I'm going to assume you still probably have at least 3 matches after this.
I have exactly 3 matches left.
Well, it's like I know what's going on or something here.
It's like you've done this before.
Well, there's only 4 I guess technically there's 3 matches left because we're not counting the fucking stupid Hogan Yoko match. So you've got the same amount. I'm just curious where we're going now because up next was Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect. We've
It's
already
crazy.
seen
Like,
perfect.
I didn't even intentionally realize this, but like even the last match had Hogan in it. I'm keeping Lex Luger in a match here as well, and I didn't even realize that they lined up like that on the card. I'm going with we talked about ebbs and flow after the big angle here with Yoko getting the win. We're gonna go with Lex Luger versus Bob Backlund.
Okay, I get it. I don't think that Backlund needed to be on this card, but I Luger's going over. I got to assume in a pretty squash match.
Luger's going over. For me, the reason why I chose Bob Backlund here is kind of like a little nod and a wink to the hardcore, like really pure like wrestling fans. I just think it's fun to have a former WCW world champion fighting a former WWF world champion. That will never be brought up on commentary. That's just kind of like for the smart marks out there. Backlund, as a former world champion, still has a name to him. You know, he had a strong showing at the Royal Rumble the month before this or whatever in 93. So I just figure let's feed Luger another win. It's not time to put him in the title picture, but beating a former world champion could set up him and Brett down the line, or him and Savage, or now you've got Yoko and Luger kind of both building up steam on the undercard. You can kind of have your pick, right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I'm not a Luger fan. I have been very vocal about that. I've never been a Luger fan, but I do like the narcissist gimmick.
Yeah.
I thought that suited him so much more than the Made in the USA
Yeah, that
Hulk
was
Hogan
terrible.
Jr. It was so forced and bullshit that this if they had kept Luger like this and he had gone on to win the championship and be a heel champion, I would have been perfectly okay with all of that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I liked Luger's NWA run, like this Crockett run when he was part of the Horsemen as well. I thought he had some good matches with Nikita Koloff and stuff like that. But
Yeah, in his early days, but then once Luger left the WWF here and went back to WCW in what 95,
yeah,
that's when I really could care less about him. Like he's going by the
yeah,
total package by the end of it, just the total package. He's
yeah,
in the NWO Wolfpack just to try and look cool, but
yeah.
we all know Wolfpack.
That was terrible.
Wolfpack was the coolest one, but we didn't need Lex Luger in it.
Yeah, him and Sting. I was like, what's going on here? You
Yeah,
guys are not cool, guys. Like Sting, you
no,
just be dark and scary and stop putting
you're
your
old.
hands over your head.
You guys are old enough to be my dad. My dad's
Yeah.
not cool, so fuck off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Although I will say in '97 when they heated him up as a babyface wasn't bad either. When he was like clearing the ring of the NWO guys, he got some good stuff going there too.
Yeah, he was able to beat Hogan for the title quick, but that lasted what, 2 weeks, I think?
Yeah, that was about it. Not even, right? But I just figured let's give him, this is just kind of come down after a big upset. The crowd, I'm thinking, is going to be shocked with Yoko losing. So let's just go, 6 minutes, have Luger get a strong win over Backlund and move on to the next one,
Yeah, which the next one I'm assuming, because we haven't seen it yet, has got to be an Intercontinental Championship match.
It is an Intercontinental Champion match. You are correct.
Well, originally it was Taker and Gonzalez, so we're already past that. So who do we have Shawn Michaels going up against for the IC title here, Tyler?
We have Shawn Michaels versus a mystery opponent being billed in this card here. This is supposed to be Beefcake, but he was hurt at the hands of Yokozuna. Kind of little throwback shades to SummerSlam 88 here, where Shawn is so cocky, he doesn't care who he's fighting. Shawn's in the ring first. He's waiting for his opponent when Luna Vachon makes her way out with a microphone in hand. And she says, I cleaned up your mess and I took out your trash earlier tonight. And now you owe me one. And let me introduce you to your opponent. It is my main squeeze, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Well, you just did me right there, bud. I am okay with this. It's funny to me that Bam Bam was supposed to have a match on this card with Kamala.
Yes.
And to this day, I still don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was just time restraints or whatnot, but it
was time. Yeah, it was time. And the kayfabe reason was Kamala got distracted looking at the elephants in the back. They actually shot a Coliseum home video exclusive with Kamala and elephants.
Oh my God, that's right. I can't believe that happened.
I can't believe I remembered that.
All right, well, IC title match, Shawn Michaels and Bam Bam Bigelow. Like this is good. This is a worker big man who can do aerial moves. Bam Bam can do no wrong. Let's be real.
Yeah. So
So yeah, I'm hoping for a new IC champion here, but I'm okay if we don't have one.
So I'm trying to book a fine line here because I don't want Bam Bam to end up as a face. I still want him and Luna to be heels when this is over. So this is what I came up with. I got Bam Bam rushing the ring, and I just got him throwing Sean all over the place. Sean's bumping like crazy. We're putting over the strength of Bam Bam. A thumb to the eye is going to stop Bam Bam just quickly, but he's going to catch Sean going for a Hurricane Rana, hit him with a massive power bomb. Bam Bam's going to climb to the top rope, go for the headbutt, but Sean's going to roll out of the ring, and he's going to head to the back for a count-out finish. Chicken shit heel Shawn Michaels. As Sean is making his way to the back, Mr. Perfect is going to come up from behind him, grab him, and throw him back in the ring. Bam Bam's going to lay Sean out again, hit him with a diving headbutt as him and Perfect celebrate in the ring together. As Perfect turns around, though, Bam Bam's going to smoke him with a drop kick. He's going to lay Perfect out with a massive headbutt. And Bam Bam's going to leave both guys laying as him and Luna are going to stand over and celebrate.
See, I like this because if you're keeping the title on Brett going into King of the Ring, which I don't know if you're about to or not, this sets up Bammer to potentially just destroy the entire tournament. So I'm liking this.
Yeah, so you've got Bam Bam booked real strong. You've got Sean as a chicken shit, and you've got him and Perfect continuing their thing. With Bam Bam, I know triple threat matches weren't a thing in 93, but you could have a little three-way feud here with all three of the guys trying to fight for the title shot. You could move Bam Bam right up to the world title picture right away because he's booked strong already. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this for you guys to play with in the future. And fuck, who doesn't love Bam Bam?
Oh, 100%. And if Bam doesn't win the King of the Ring tournament, the only logical choice other than that is Curtis Hughes. So we need him back in the picture very, very soon.
Obviously, the new tag team champions, Bam Bam and Curtis Hughes.
Oh man, can you imagine that? That's like Bammer and Vader in fucking New Japan. That's incredible.
I will say those guys would have some bangers with the Steiner brothers.
Of course they would. And then the heavenly bodies would be waiting in the wings for them.
Swoop in and take those titles. And then we could have a best of 7 series, Texas death match between them and the Quebecers.
See, Jesus Christ, I can't. This is the greatest moment of my life right now.
I told you you're going to like my card. We talked about this off air.
I know. I didn't want to, but I do. But here's what I really do like. I love the fact that you are going straight. Well, I think you are straight from the Intercontinental Championship match into the WWF Championship match. And I like that because the Intercontinental Championship is a main event title. Yep. It as well should be treated so. It should either be the Tag Championship or the IC Championship right before the main heavyweight title. They're all main events.
Like, I don't have a problem with the IC title being put in the mid card as well if they're going to have a long 25-minute, like, Brett Mr. Perfect Classic match. But I figure with the non-finish here, it's okay to put it in the semi-main event spot too, because it's a big angle, but it's a non-finish. So it's like, I feel like it's a good flow into the main event as well.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, are we at the main event? Is it time for the World Wrestling Federation Championship? I don't do a Finkel, so we don't have that today. But if you would like to lead us into Bret Hart versus Randy, I can't believe I'm saying that, at WrestleMania 9, what do we got, bro?
I mean, so we're going to play off of Royal Rumble, obviously. Macho Man winning the Royal Rumble. I still think Savage had a lot of gas left in the tank here. I've got Savage kind of playing like he's still a baby face, but I want him showing that old school heel side as well. So he's like showing like just little tweaks of a heel, kind of like how Rowdy Piper fought his match at WrestleMania 8 against Brett. You know what I mean? I want these guys to have a long match.
Trust me, I know what you mean. I actually saw a picture in a Facebook group actually recently. It was Roddy Piper in the shockproof vest. And it was like Roddy Piper has gone from hitting people in the head with coconuts to, in 1992, wearing a bathing suit to make sure that he was okay. And it's Piper. He can do whatever he wants. Sidebar, funny story. My father-in-law when he was younger, looks exactly like 1980s Roddy Piper, and it makes me so happy.
I love that. Do you just ask him if you've got all the answers? Will he change questions on you?
No, I always try to get him to hit me with a coconut, though. And I've tried to convince him that we need to go to a backlot brawl, but
Now you're talking.
he just doesn't understand it. And then now he looks like William Shatner, so now we make all the astronaut comments to him as well.
The evolution.
The evolution, that's it, man. You go from backlot brawls to space.
That's it.
Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
I'm going to have these guys go long. I want them to go 26, 27 minutes. I want Savage to have, take a lot of the match. I want to put over Brett's toughness here again. I want Savage to kind of be in control of a lot of it. I want Brett to hit the Brett turnbuckle, like chest bump, all the classic stuff. I want Savage to look like he's pretty much got the match won. I'm going to have him on the top rope, getting ready to hit an elbow drop, but I want a classic Bret Hart move where he's playing possum. I want him to pop up, hit a huge superplex, and I want him to lock in the sharpshooter and get another clean win with the sharpshooter over the Macho Man. I got Bret Hart going over.
I think that makes so much sense because he's your upstart champion that you're trying to build. So you have him cleanly beat Ric Flair and Randy Savage within a couple of months of each other. You're a made man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going for here. And I want this to kind of be the Bret Hart show. After the match is over, though, I want Savage to get up, and I want him to have that crazy Macho Man look in his eye. Like, this fight isn't over yet, but then he's going to come over and give the intense handshake and lift Bret's hand up. And we're going to have the show go off the air with Bret Hart, his wife, his kids, Stu, Helen, and Owen all in the ring celebrating.
As soon as you said the crazy look and then you brought up Bret's wife, I immediately went, lust in the eyes. I was like, fuck,
and just like that.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
It's the Canadian mega powers.
Overall, dude, I'd say that this is a pretty damn good card. The only thing that I am a little bummed out about is the fact that Crush isn't on it.
Fair. I did try to find some spot. I almost put Crush against Luger to give Luger like a big win there, but I went with Backlund just being a former world champion instead. I really wanted to try to get to Tonka on the card, but I didn't want to force anything that I didn't think needed to be there either. And I just didn't really see a spot for Tonka to fit.
No, I get that, but at the same time, the only reason that I would have probably put Tonka on the main card is he was still undefeated at this point, and they were talking about how he was still undefeated. So even if you had him go against, I don't even know who, a Damien Demento or something random like that, you know what I mean? Just to give him another win.
I thought about it, but I just like Tatanka and Damien Demento at WrestleMania. Like I thought about putting him and Bam Bam together, but I didn't want either one to lose. I thought about putting him in a 6-man tag on the main card, but I just didn't want to force anything on there that I just, some guys just don't fit on a card sometimes. And Tatanka, unfortunately, was that casualty this time.
I get it. And then there are guys who unfortunately are on the card that shouldn't be, which, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, next week I will be rebooking WrestleMania 13. Ooh. And as I'm sure, there are a lot of people on that card that you all know I hate. So will they make it? Will they not? I can give you one giant spoiler alert right now. The main event does not have Sid in it.
I am not surprised at all. I believe I think the only time you've ever liked Sid was when he was in ECW.
And that's only because it was ECW. It's not because I liked Sid. Tyler, I want to say thank you for coming on today, man, and helping us fill in while Jay was unavailable for today. I think you did a great job. And are you up for the King of the Ring 93 task then?
Oh, I will start putting some notes together and see what I can do to try to tie in with what you guys did at SummerSlam. I'll have to get you to send me your notes over again. I'll re-listen to the show and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm up for it.
That's awesome. And why don't you just plug all your other shows that you do? Because God damn it, you are the Canadian podfather these days.
I'm working on it. Obviously, we're all on the same network here. CountItOut7.com is where you find us all. On our YouTube page is where you're going to listen to this. Obviously, listen to our podcast as well. Mike and I do a top 7 countdown show. We have some fun interviews in the archives with Mickey James, Tyson Kidd. We've got Jacques Rougeau. We just sat down with Sin Bodhi the other day, which was really fun. And then, of course, the Classic Match Classroom that myself and Anthony Cerulli do from the Titan Ton podcast. He's been on here as well. Basically, we just take a young 19, 20-year-old kid who's loves pro wrestling, very knowledgeable about it, but he's never seen a lot of the classics. And we run through the whole thing, and I teach him as a professor, and when we get a fresh take from a new generation's eyes on some classics, it's a lot of fun.
Wouldn't technically you be the new generation's eyes since you grew up in that era, though?
Well, he would be. I guess I would be the new generation, right? Is that what you're going with there?
That's exactly what I'm going
I
with
almost
there.
missed that. I almost missed that.
Oh, fuck. Oh, these are good times. I like this. Jay should take a day off every now and then again.
You know, I had a blast, man, and it's good to bust Jay's balls, even though he wasn't here. Talk a little shit about him, and it was fun to finally get to do this with you.
I gotta call you out on something though. Jay's done your guys' show enough times. How come I haven't done it yet?
I'm just waiting for any time you want to come on, man. You got a list ready?
Oh, I can get a list ready of anything in any time, and it'll be way better than anything Jay's ever done on there.
I mean, it won't be praising the new generation, so I'm sure it'll be pretty good. I'll tell you what, as soon as WrestleMania season's done, then we're locking you on, man. You tell me when you're ready.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go now.
Love it. I love it. You give me a list, and we'll make sure we're prepping for it.
Well, that sounds great. And I think with that, let's just tie a bow on this week's episode. And as Tyler said, you can find anything Good Friends, Better Enemies, the Counted Out 7, and the fun little Professor Tyler. I always forget the name of this one, and I just heard it too. I know it's Classroom.
Classic Match Classroom.
Classic Match Classroom over at countedout7.com. You can find us on socials at good_enemies on Twitter, good_enemies on Instagram, and the Good Friends Better Enemies podcast. Don't tell us we need TikTok. We don't need TikTok. We're almost 40. Go fuck yourselves. That being said, though, I just want to say thank you very much, Tyler, for helping us. And this has been an all-new episode of the Good Friends Better Enemies podcast. Bye.
Stop recording.